Alright, this is just another update on the garden. I've been trying to work outside a little bit whenever it's not raining and it's dry enough to get out there and it's not too windy. Last time I left off, I was getting ready to put those, started putting those new raised beds out there in the front. And basically, the compost pile was in the way of the last one there, so I got it mostly empty, filling those beds, and then it's time to just pick it up and move it to another spot for now. And guess what? When I moved it, I found my garden shears. I don't know if you remember, a couple years back, I bought a new pair of shears and I lost it in about a week. Well, guess where they went? They've been spent some time in the bottom of the compost pile there. So, at least I know they're not lost now, and what's left of the pile there, I'm just going to take and put in some buckets and dump in the beds in the garden here. The stuff in the bottom is usually the best. All the good stuff goes to the bottom of it. So I'm going to just top off all my beds. And you can see I had basically enough to fill all those new boxes, and put another bucket or two in each of the beds when I get done here. So should be good for this growing season. And there they are. Just started, got all of them. Had enough to get a couple buckets in them all, and I just got to turn them over and mix it in next once we get some better weather. So I got that compost pile out of the way, and it's time to start cleaning up. And you'll notice that I did finally get a new rake with a really long handle on it. Turned out I found this one at Tractor Supply, and it's a really nice made rake. It's a forged, not a welded rake, and it's forged in China though. But it looks good. It's got a fiberglass handle on it, so that's a real comfortable one to use with that long handle. So I'm happy about that. And then I'm going through the same thing here, putting down the plastic, cutting out for the bed, and then filling it up with the compost that I had dragged up there with the tractor and moved out of the way. So that's the last bed in place now. I got all 5 of them, and this is the end of, beds for my garden. You can see they're all filled up and ready to go. Now I've got that other compost pile out there, that bin filled up that I got to move over. I just grabbed one pitchfork, but I actually wound up using the wheelbarrow, and here you can get a look at the worms that are in there. Start putting in the wheelbarrow, and you can see there's like those red worms, and that's what it really takes to make compost. They do a good job on it, and they make it into compost quick. I don't know if you can see them all, but there's millions of worms in there. And then FedEx just showed up, and they dropped off my order from Stark Brothers. I ordered a couple more pear trees, and some strawberry plants, and actually some sweet potato slips that'll be coming later. And I actually ordered a little key lime tree and a little lemon tree too. Now this one here is a little key lime tree that came. That's actually going to be in the house, only out in the summer, because it's too sensitive to frost. But that one's for my wife, and these are the 25 strawberry plants. There's some ever-bearing plants I tried. So I'm gonna, take them right out of the box and just put them in some water and get them in the garden as quick as I can. So I let them soak for about an hour, just kind of bring them back to life, and that's what they look like. They were in good shape, and little helper is watching there. So I'm going to use these first 2 new beds for the strawberries. Now I used to have them up by the house, but we had a big problem with chipmunks stealing the strawberries and eating them whenever they got ripe. So I decided I'm going to put them down here, and I'm going to actually build covers out of hardware cloth so that the chipmunks can't get into them. And hopefully I'll get some berries down here. So it's time to plant them. I bought 25 of them, and I'm just going to put 12 in each of these boxes here. Got them spaced about a foot apart. And strawberries are really easy to plant. Just have to try to spread the roots out a little bit and put them in the ground, and just make sure you bury them like right up to the crown. Don't get the crown under the dirt. And then just cover the roots over. So I'm hoping, next year I will get some strawberries, and these are a ever-bearing type that will bear all summer. And there you can see there's where the crown is. You want to keep that up from there up. Don't put it under the dirt. So they're, they go pretty quick and they're real easy to plant. And I've had good luck with plants from Stark Brothers. So just have to, they come bare root and you just have to get them in the ground right away when you get them. You can't leave them laying around. So I got the first bed done and then go back to the second bed here and put the rest of them in. And actually I did get 25 plants in there. 2 of them were tiny, so I put both of them together in one hill there. So, those 2 boxes there are all planted now. And the trees, I just like that last tree I planted, I'm just going to soak them in water for an hour to bring them back to life. And then dig some holes. And it's been so wet out and rainy the last couple weeks actually, and windy and rainy, and these holes when I'm digging them, there's like the bottom quarter of them is full of water. It's just coming up out of the ground. It's unbelievable. But I got 2 more pears. I got a Anjou dwarf tree, and then I got a Bartlett semi-dwarf that I'm going to put in there. I just wanted to try pears this year, and I showed you I had planted that Seckel pear a little while ago, and hopefully these will help pollinate it, even though it said it was self-pollinating. So I did put some compost in the bottom of the hole before I put the tree in there, and it's just a matter of get some of that dirt compost mixture back in there around the tree and pack it down good to get all the air out. And I didn't even have to water them because there was so much moisture in the ground. It's just been so cold and windy and just been, hard to get going this year. So I got that one tree in and then, just went back, and that one was the Anjou dwarf. And you always, like I said before, you always want to make sure that graft is up above the soil level. And there's Bartlett in the back there. I got that one in too. So hopefully a couple years I'll have some pears, and we are getting some asparagus. Some of the first ones there. They've been pretty tasty, and I did have a problem with some of my shallots I put in not germinating. They just didn't hatch. I think it was because we had such a warm winter. My root cellar didn't really get cold enough in the beginning of the winter until after like January. And I did have a lot of these shallots actually go bad on me just due to the fact it was too warm in there. So, global warming is, I may have to do something else in the future if it, stays warm like that. And then you can see I use my wife's golf cart here like a little mule. It's always loaded down, and I picked up some pressure treated lumber to put at the end of those beds to cap them off. It's pretty funny because the pressure treated lumber at Home Depot is actually cheaper than the Doug Fir or the SPF framing lumber. I couldn't believe it. Usually pressure treated is higher. But I just had to cut some 45s to match the corners of the beds there, and I wanted to, cap it off here, and that'll be the end of my beds. And I made my first run over I got 2 tons of gravel just to start out to make sure everything was okay with the trailer and stuff. So I picked up a couple of tons of gravel, and just got to get these boards in here to hold back the edge of it. And I'm just using some of the steel roofing screws going into the corners of the raised beds there. And the metal on the corners of these beds is a little bit heavier, so it takes a while for those screws to really self-drill through it, but they hold good once you get them in there. So I just wanted to, cap this off, and on the other side, one side will be gravel, and the other side will actually just be just the grass mulch like I use in the rest of the big garden there. So it took a while to get them all screwed in place here, but finally I'm just about done with this section of the garden here, and this will be it for everything. and then start moving some gravel in between there just to, have something nice and dry to walk on. And it actually helps hold the heat in at night and stuff in the springtime. I think it gets my plants going better. And again, that long handle on the rake, that is really nice. I really like that one. So I, spent some time and got it all filled in between the beds there. And after spending the whole winter on the couch, sure does start hurting when you start doing things like this. Then I went over and I grabbed another 3 tons of gravel, and the other side of the yard is still a mud hole. It's still all soaking wet, and trying to get the trailer in there made a mess, and that's where it's stuck right now until I empty it. Just can't move it. Truck just wouldn't move it anymore. It sunk in, and that's it. As you can see, I had the tractor stuck in there and stuff too. So it's been really wet and moist this spring, but slowly but surely, it's drying out now. And there's our mourning dove. She's back. Every year she goes in that nest up there and has a couple babies. She's been there for about 2 weeks sitting on the nest, and I see some tails sticking out from under her now. And the spinach is starting to do good with this cold weather. The lettuce is kind of spotty. I think that snow that we had on it when it was real small did damage some of it, but there'll be some in a little while. And radishes, we've had a couple little ones so far, and kale is just really loving this cold, wet weather. It's really doing good. My wife's been making a lot of soup using it, stuff like that. And there's another load on the golf cart. That thing's really been getting the workout. I've been looking for a side-by-side, but they're just not available this year. And then I picked up some wire cloth to put around the bottom of my compost pile. When I moved it, I dug out the old compost. I damaged half of it. So I bought another roll, and I'm just going to cut it to size here. Now, when you have a compost pile, you need ventilation in it, so that's what, this basically is for. You can see I've got those open spots there, and I just put that there to keep the compost in, and actually to keep the little things like moles and stuff like that out too. So just cut it to size there, and I'm just going to use a compost to hold it in place there up against the side, and it gives it some ventilation. And then I've got this other big pile up here from last year that I'm going to start putting in there too, and this will all disappear. It'll just kind of drop down during this whole season. So basically, this is where I stand now. I got everything moved around this stuff. I still have a lot more little stuff to do, but just thought I'd do an update at this point, and hopefully next video will be about planting. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.